The young fellas, I guarantee you that you are going to have trouble convincing a 60-year-old, fully retired, very successful business owner that he should invest $500,000 with a 25-year-old gangster. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. Thanks for joining us. My name's Max. I'm the CEO at Smith & Sons here. And today we're going to cover off 11 points about how to set up a business. Now, just before I get started, welcome to you if you listen to this on the podcast. Welcome to you if you're in YouTube land. Great to have you with us. As usual, bit of housekeeping, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. We drop one of these every week. Right now, we're on TikTok Live. Welcome to all our TikTokers. We appreciate you hanging with us for a minute or an hour, depending on how long I go here. Try not to be an hour. And so it's really good just to start to build this community. I'm really enjoying the process. Lots of love, few little haters, but that's part of the deal, right? So look, today, as usual, we want to bring as much value to our general contractor community as we can. And so, I've put together a few dot points, a few notes that I want to address and cover off, because it's funny, like in this last week, we're getting a lot of questions from, young and old operators. I mean, one gentleman said, look, I'm 39. Is it too late to get a builder's license? And I'm like, bro, only if you think it is. But if you ask me, absolutely not. Let's, get after it. I'm 49, right? So you got 10 years on me. I'm old, and I'm still giving it a shot. So, I think it's important that we just understand that just do you, and it takes time to really get this thing sorted out. And so, for me, I didn't get a crack at this position here in Smith & Sons until I was like 42, 43. Ironically enough, the guy that started McDonald's back in 1954, he was actually 52 when he got the deal with the McDonald's brothers. So, I don't think there's any late time to start. I think if you've got it in you and you still got a desire and you're hungry and you've got a good relationship with pain, because it is a little bit painful running a general contracting business, then you can make something of it if you wish. So let's get started. So today I'm going to quickly chat about, just to help, our let's call it our startup general contractors, or those that are desiring to get in amongst it. Just some things that are like, I talk a lot about systems, and I'm going to kind of cover off a little bit. I'm going to knock the top off a little bit of that. But predominantly what I'm going to talk about today is some of the stuff that you should consider doing when you're going, right, I've been working as an employee for a general contractor, and now I'm actually want to go and start my own thing. There's a lot of legal stuff that's got to get sorted out. So I'm actually going to cover those in this document, in this episode, off the back of a couple of my notes. So 11 points, setup checklist. So Jill's going to love this because she loves the whole points thing and how to help general contractors. So let's get after it. So the first thing is you're going to need to design your construction contractor business. And I'm talking about time management system. I'm talking about, a lot of the system design, the way you do things, and of course your sales systems. I've talked about this before. Your business should operate using systems, and then as you do develop that, you should actually, be able to bring people in to replace you. My apologies if you're watching this on YouTube. I've been staring at that. Phone, and Jill's like, "Hey, wrong camera, bro." So it's all right. I have such a good time doing TikTok Live on Fridays. It's friggin' awesome. So yeah, I sort of get drawn to the phone a little bit. But yeah, time management systems, design your systems, making sure that that everything that you do is systemized and that it does have a checklist. I mean, everywhere I turn, and my team here gets kind of tired of me saying it, was like, we either got to put that on a checklist or we've got to make a checklist. One of those two. And the reason is because we want to do it competently over and over again. So we want to systemize our approach, and it makes everybody's life easier, because really what systems do, especially when you're working on a team, everyone actually goes to that checklist and really focuses on, getting the job done using that tool. And so what it means is there's a lot less conjecture on how it should be done, because we've set out a way that we do it, and the system is as per the checklist. So everything from, you'll use that, really what we're talking about is a systems operations file. And I know that, and I don't care if it starts with one checklist, guys and girls. You've just got to understand that you have to build that system around your business, and the way you're going to do that is documenting that process. So one of the areas that you might have a documented process would be in your sales. It's like, okay, this is what we do, on the first phone call. This is what we do on, the site visit. This is what we do soon after the site visit. These are the things that we do. And so for my general contractors, it's all outlined in our operations file, and they've literally got a page-by-page, explanation on what should come next. And so what we're trying to do is, as much as I say, yep, I want to design, the reason why I design checklists is because I know what I can do, but it's all in my head. And I know that if you're a general contractor, particularly carpenters, I can't speak for other trades because I'm a carpenter by trade, you know that you know what you do because it's all logged up in here. The problem is when you try to train somebody else, they've got to have something that they can go to be able to do the job as good or better than you can. And so this is why documenting, whether it's a sales process, whether it's a quoting and estimating process, whether it is a follow-up process with your clients, and then of course a build process. And I'm big on checklists to the point where at the moment I've shared with this before is that I'm developing a 20-page construction checklist just for the different stages. And some of those checklist pages are only maybe 5 to 7 dot points long. Others are 2 pages, right? So it depends on the scope. But I just need those certain pertinent things to be taken care of. If I was the builder and I had a superintendent, this would be his Bible, this would be his go-to. So it's super important that we sit back, and this is the first thing that you do, right? And so everything else after this is rather legal, and it's technical, and it's software, and it's insurance, and it's blah, blah, blah. This is actually you sitting down going, right, run through a virtual scenario. Right, I get a first phone call. Right, this is what I want to do in the first meeting. Now, what you'll find is if you walk through that virtual process, you'll go, hang on a sec, roadblock. I have no clue on what I got to do there. So why would you go and start selling your services when you don't even know what you should do in some circumstances? Or you get it and go, well, this is kind of what I do, but I think it can be done, there's a better way to do it, right? And so this is why when I talk about, are you operating a business by design or by default, this is why I'm so big on talking about this as the first setup checklist. If you're a 20, 22, 24, 39, 50-year-old, whatever, wanting to be a general contractor, and I'm assuming you've got construction background, you don't want to have worked at McDonald's your whole life and then decided you're going to be a GC, you're going to struggle. Not impossible, I'm not going to say that, but you're going to struggle. But I'm going to understand, I want you to understand that designing these systems will be the hardest thing you've ever done, but it also will be, it will pay you back in perpetuity going forward, because the system that's designed once actually then stays in play and you just tweak on the fly. I'm always tweaking. I'm always acting. So I'm designing, I'm acting on it, and I'm doing it. And then I assess it, and then I tweak it, and we go back and do it. And we just keep going around that circle. So there's always this constant improvement process. I love the fact I get inspired when, things are working really well, but I can't help myself. It's like, but how could we do it better? And so this is that the hard thing is to design everything initially. And I guess there is some upside to when, general contractors join forces with Smith & Sons and they come on board as an operator, because they get our 700-page manual, and their projects consultant get their 350, 400-page project consultant file. And so, everything is set up. It's very much a business in a box. So there's still things here, patchy, a couple of the points are already taken care of. But certainly there's a lot of it that is. And so guys and gals, just jump, on board with Smith & Sons. And a lot of this is really taken care of up front. So design your construction business, time management, system design, and your sales process. Second point number 2, you've got to form your construction, company entity, right? So I am not going to give you any legal advice. I am not a lawyer. It's not my place to do that. I don't have the skills or experience. However, what I've done several times myself is to go and set up an LLC or an incorporated company or something that is a standalone entity that's not you as a sole proprietor. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. Probably the major, most obvious one is for your, improve your taxation situation, to make sure that everything, and really to separate the company from your personal self. They're probably the 2 main reasons that I would absolutely could look into doing that. So, I think that if you run too long as a sole proprietor, what you're going to find is you're going to pay too much tax, and you do leave yourself up to, litigation directly, which can attack all of your assets. So, Get some good legal advice. Go and chat with a lawyer real quick. Consult your accountant, on how to maybe to best set that up. And just understand that companies aren't, companies were designed by the bigwigs for a reason. They wanted it to be beneficial, and we get to take advantage of that situation and look after ourselves as well. The other thing you want to do, most of us general contractors in Canada, once you hit $30,000, anything above that, you got to register for the collection of GST. So you get to be a tax collector. Happy days. Make sure, I'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, it means whenever you charge money, you've got to charge GST. That's how the government gets their dough out of us. So be sure to register your business. And I wouldn't think that you would do less than 30 grand a year. I mean, we all need more than that to survive. So if you're going to set up a general contracting business, odds on is you're going to need to register for the tax collecting side of things of your business in your area, in your country. Okay, So that was point number 3. Point number 4 is open a business account and a credit card account and a tax account. Guys and girls, the biggest thing or the biggest mistake you can do is to underestimate, the amount of tax that you're going to pay and the GST. Be careful that you don't go and spend money that which is not yours. That is a critical error because the government bodies in your country they frown upon general contractors who don't, pay their taxes in accordance with the law of the land. So ensure that you've got an operating account set up. You've got a credit card account. For those that don't run commercial supplier accounts, in other words, you haven't filled out a commercial credit application whereby your company now has a 30-day account or a monthly account with said supplier, you might need to operate on a mixture between, cash that you receive as down payments from clients and also maybe some of your own credit, depending on, how you're rolling. But certainly some things like, the credit card for subscriptions, you might pay, some of the, like gas you'll pay on your credit card and a few other things as well. That might be the major reason for a credit card for that business account, and then have a separate taxation account where, the minute you collect some monies from a client and there's GST that's part of that, payment, that gets set aside for your tax payment, obligations. Make sure you handle that. And separate it from your personal. Okay. Set up, what you need to do is set up some cloud-based accounting software. Super easy to do. There's a whole bunch of them. I know a lot of builders actually use, QuickBooks is one of them. Zero Accounting is another. You need a proper cloud-based software. It maybe cost you between $20 and $30 a month. But guys and girls, our processes now in business are so seamless. Our accountant, can look over our accounting software from their office because it's cloud-based. A lot of our older gen builders perhaps maybe shake their head at this and it's a little bit tough to get their head around. But certainly a lot of the younger generation coming through, they would just accept that as a given. Now, further to that, set up an estimating software. Guys and girls, don't, do yourself a favor. Just spend the money on a proper estimating service or software, cloud-based software that syncs with your accounting software. So you can do proper estimates and you can basically do proper job management process. There's a lot of systems within the software that will help you that an Excel spreadsheet won't. Now, is it an investment? Yeah, it's actually more expensive than your accounting software. So what I might say to you is, okay, while you're in your setup phase, start using what is very accessible, both physically and financially. Don't rush out and do what we do and spend $250 a month on buildexact.ca or wherever you are, and get that kind of a software. If you don't need it, if you're just starting out and you're doing decks and fences or whatever, then sure, you might be able to do it on a micro level, but please don't get comfortable at that level, because that tool that you spend money on is going to give you leverage to take the business to the next level. What will stunt your growth is your inability to deliver to multiple clients at once. If you have the right tools and systems in place, i.e. a job management software that's cloud-based, that syncs with your accounting software, now we're starting to get it going on. Something else that can help you as well, a thing called Magic Plan. I've seen my guys run around my reception area here in the office and just bang out a really quick floor plan on this thing called Magic Plan. I've never personally used that, but they bang on about how good and how convenient it is. It's not perfect. It is an app after all. but certainly to get you to some really basic concepts for a kitchen redesign or a basement, remodel or something along those lines. I wouldn't advise you to, that would be totally irrelevant if you're just doing custom homes or carriage houses or granny flats or anything like that. You're going to need to go, obviously, don't waste your time. Get to an architect and start doing some concept drawing straight away. But there are a few of the softwares. Your accounting software, so that was point number 5. Your estimating software, which is point number 6, which includes maybe a magic plan where you can do some really basic layouts in basements, kitchens, and some main floor renovations, things like that. Okay, the other thing you need to do is probably in your area, get the necessary permits and licenses for your contracting business. You can walk into our reception. We've got a business license hanging on the wall in there. Pay you $150 a year or whatever it is and keep everybody happy. Next one's super important. Obviously, general contractor business insurance. I would expect you're going to have your normal vehicle insurance, et cetera, but you might have to start thinking about a trailer insurance. Maybe your tools and equipment might need to be insured, those sorts of things. But the big one is your general commercial liability of, let's say, a minimum of $2 million. Now, again, all of our guys' minimum standard in accordance with the agreement is $2 million of general commercial liability insurance. You might get away if you're just doing some, very few jobs a year, and you might only, need $1 million of coverage per year. But I think $2 million a year probably costs you somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 a year. More often than not, they can do that. You can pay as you go, so it makes it really, really affordable. You really want to, insurance is like this. It's kind of like, I had personal accident and life insurance for like forever. Before I come to Canada, and I paid like $220 a month for 10 years and never made a single claim. But, the soon as you go and cancel it, what happens? All of a sudden you need to fall back on it. So in this case, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at. So make sure you've got your insurances. And again, talk to your insurance expert and get the advice. A side note to that, and this might not really be applicable until you've got a little bit bigger and you've got some staff. What most of my general contractors do, what I do here at corporate, is we make sure that we've got, extended medical. In this day and age, we know, we're having supply chain issues as general contractors. We're all nodding our heads going, yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. The other thing is to find good people and not only just recruit them, but to train and retain. Part of that is to really, become a preferred employer. And the way we do that is to offer our team, extended medical. So, at the right time, consider that. Again, just put it on the checklist, and it might be something that you'll consider down the track. So, that's really part of maybe your insurance. It's the medical benefit side as well. So that's part of point 8. Point number 9, define your construction contractor business brand. Smith & Sons are Smith & Sons remodeling experts. For the most part, we specialize in renovations and remodels. We understand that custom homes actually have or require the same attention to detail. And so a lot of our renovation and remodeling systems actually work in the custom home realm as well. And so, but you might be in a position where, like some of my guys, they're not licensed builders, so they don't do any new custom homes. So for the most part, the majority of our business, 3/4 of our business, is renovations. I will tell you this, I've got a senior gent in the business, and we both, and I call myself, he's only 7 years older than me and I'm calling him senior, but, him and I agree after years of, having been involved in new homes, that, renovations, they require a lot more planning, yes, but there is, the potential for really good return on investment in the way of gross profit is there as well. The markups for renovations are significantly higher. So in some cases, some guys just throw up all over me when we start talking about doing renovations because they've just been brought up in the new home game and they don't even want to go there. That's fine. At least you're designing exactly what it is that you want, your brand to stand for. So, that's why, Smith & Sons there is no Smith in Smith & Sons. I don't want to, pop your balloon, but essentially Smith & Sons looks like a very traditional name. It seems very trustworthy. And of course, Remodeling Experts really points to the type of work that we do. So that's the design. That's what I'm talking about. So when I say define your brand, that's what I'm talking about. I see too many guys going, we specialize, in everything. No job, too big or small. Look, I understand that that's a cute approach, but it's not one that I do. It's not one that I build a multi-million-dollar international brand off the back of. It's not how I roll. I just don't believe that can actually, matter of fact, I've got business partners that actually have other franchised organizations that specialize in new homes in housing estates where they have show homes and display homes. We've also got a commercial fit-out franchise organization as well. And so those are split up into 3 different departments or verticals for a reason. We understand, we identify our clients. So this is part of defining your brand. We have a very specific preferred client profile, and we market a certain way to cater to that type of client. And that's what we slowly build momentum out of. So 4 years ago, Smith & Sons was a zero brand. It was nothing. And today it's a multi-million-dollar brand in 2 different provinces with plans to go to the States. So, this is why there's power in designing, not just your time management and your business systems, but what is the public perception of your brand and your construction services going to be. So make sure you give that some thought as well in the designing of your business brand. Right, website. This is a bit of a no-brainer. I might have shared this before. I think the website in this day and age is still a massive part of what we do. A lot of our social drives to the website. We have people inquiring with us, mostly I would say through the 1-800 number or the website contact form. Now, does that mean that we do get inquiry, let's say through Facebook? But what happens is the Facebook is set up to actually redirect them to our contact page. And the reason is that the contact page specifically asks the client for information related to their project that's going to help the general contractor understand ahead of time what it is that they want. And so what you've got to do is, again, it's down to design. So look, I think the easiest thing for you guys to do, and I think we could probably put I don't know whether we do, Jill, but we could actually put smithandsons.ca just so our viewers can actually go in there and go, okay, what the hell's Max talking about? He's banging on about, website design. I'm not saying that what we got going on is perfect, but we're on our way, right? And so the easiest thing to do, someone actually said to me on TikTok overnight, it's easy to steal stuff with your ears and your eyes. Well, if I was you and we're going through an 11-point setup checklist for general contractors, then what I would do is I would go onto Smith & Sons website and I would steal all of our ideas. I would do it exactly the same way. And note to self, that website is built on a platform called Squarespace, and it's super easy to use. And the reason I know this is because I built the website. I did. This old boy. I built the website, and it's not Flash, so don't go crucify me. And I'm not going to tell you what that is anyway. I built the website for our go-kart club, and I built the website for my cover band, my rock and roll band. And look, it's because those entities don't, although the go-kart club one is actually pretty deep. There's a lot of downloads and shit on that. So, it's totally doable. If you want to outsource it, you can. But what I would do is I would take a look at smithandsons.ca. Squarespace is going to cost you money. The URL is going to cost you money. You got to pay to play, guys and girls. And so I'm not saying you go out and run through this checklist all tomorrow and you go and put your neck in a noose for mega bucks on subscriptions and anything like that. But I'm saying, if you like what you see, what we do, what we talk about, go and look at smithandsons.ca, all of that sort of stuff, then you've got to understand that there's a lot of money being invested, in putting together such a glossy looking, setup. And, the thing is, we want to see the money coming in. And this is probably a bit of a tough thing for a lot of, startup operators. They're going, well, Max, it's like catch-22. It's like the chicken or the egg. It's like, well, Max, of course I want to produce that result, but it costs me money. But then I haven't got enough money to go do that. And in some cases, you'll have the money, but you'll go and blow the cash and the business won't get up to speed fast enough. And you're like, oh, Max is full of bullshit. This doesn't work. When really what you've got to do is you've got to go and set up, and then you've got to go and execute, and then allow time to do its job. You've got to be patient as well. So it's not about just spending the money. You've got to actually be able to hold your position and allow the uptick. So what I'd say to a lot of startups is that anything that we do, here's the bottom line. This is zero, okay? Whenever you invest money, you're going to go below zero. And then over a period of time, you're then going to start climbing up. And so it's going to be a while before you get back to zero. And this is why you can't just go, well, I've just got enough money to get the URL and set up the website and have a subscription with Squarespace, which costs, I don't know, $30 a month or whatever. And then you add it to your building, your estimating project software and your accounting software. And I've just paid for my business license. And now my insurances are coming out. Guys, we haven't even gone public and haven't even started talking about marketing. And this could overwhelm you. Pregnant pause. That's what I'm talking about. This is such a juggle. This business is so brutal. And so I'm really enjoying this 11-point checklist just to start the business up. Because as I'm reading it, I'm going, wow, if I made somebody do this, they would choke. It would be overwhelming. We haven't even started talking about marketing. We haven't even really dove deep into the systems for, the construction process, documented, sales process, documented. Like, see all the work that's got to happen. Subscriptions, last thing you want to do. Pay for the website, last thing you want to do. You really want to nail down those back office stuff before you go forward. And this is why our general contractors love joining forces with Smithies, because all of this shit is business in a box. Everything is set up. Here it is. All they've got to do is actually go and execute and do what they do as builders. They've got to learn how to sell better and sell in accordance with the Smithy way, and then make sure they deliver the product the way they've already displayed that to the client and demonstrated to the client in written format and the promises they've made. And then they can build a business off the back of that. But I'm telling you, as they grow the business, it's almost like, I don't know who I was saying that to, but it's almost like, we want to take the layer off this building thing, and we want to be a big general contractor. And no sooner have we taken another layer off, it's like an onion, like we unravel more, and then there's more challenges. So the further I go, the more I realize how much I don't know. And then it's almost like the challenges become bigger, which is forcing me to grow and to get better. So it's actually enlarging my capacity. So, something else I said on a TikTok this morning, I think, was that you've got to make pain your friend. You've got to make pain your friend. And you've got to have an absolute top shelf desire and hunger to learn. The more you learn, the more you earn. This, and it takes time, because you don't just pop a pill and go, right, now I'm a financial analysis guru, or I pop a pill and now I'm a sales awesome, I'm a gunsling in sales. It doesn't happen that way. You got to go out there and start just figuring it out, feeling, I could give you a couple of examples. All these guys, and I say guys because I'm a guy and I can speak from a dude's perspective, but we all think we can drive, right, fellas? Yep, this is yes. We all think we can drive a car really well. I've had some of my buddies come down and drive my go-kart that pulls 3 Gs in the corner, and it's not a shifter cart, but it's still awesome. Like there's always a big smile under my helmet. But I could put your ass in that go-kart if you've never driven a proper racing cart before, and you would drive it like Miss Daisy. You would have absolutely no clue. And the reason is because you don't know how far you can push this cart to its limit. So you've got these inhibitions and you've got these fears, and then you drive it like a car. And yet this is a race-bred tool that you can stick it into the corners, and it sticks. It goes hard. And so, it's really the same thing, in the general contracting world. You've got your paradigm, which is what your level of understanding is. You've got your little circle where you never step out of, and that's your comfort zone. What I've got down here is 11 points on how to get you radically uncomfortable. I don't suggest you go and do all of those at once. What I would suggest is that you just bite one thing off at a time, and don't be in a hurry. Like, what, you got to be a big time general contractor yesterday? Why? Well, because you want to make money? I'm telling you, if money is your driver, then you're gonna fall on your ass, because what's going to happen is you're going to run out of money, and all of a sudden you're going to become desperate instead of being deliberate. I'm asking you right now today to be deliberate in your approach for a setup of your construction or your contracting business, and I absolutely want you to do what you need to do, what is hard first, and then do what is easy at the end. Okay, paying money to get subscriptions is super easy. That's a no-brainer. Setting up your sales systems, setting up, designing scripts to make sure that you're not stumbling over your words. That's what's more important to your longevity and your success in your business. Things like understanding, okay, talk to your accountant. How do I do proper financial analysis? What does that look like? What's back costing? What is it when I want to look at my work in progress reports? How do I do work in progress accounting? I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who have messed up their building companies because they don't understand how to analyze their financials. Here's the other thing too, side note, and I'm well, look, you know what? Setup number 11. Point number 11 on the setup is you've just got to basically, when I moved into this office, I had to have a cell phone. I had a 1-800 number. Now, some guys and gals with the technology the way it is today with the internet based, you can actually have your cell phone, but you can actually advertise a different number that comes to your cell phone. So just think about your phone system and how you want to set that up. But what I was getting at before, just to wrap up, and this is really geared towards a lot of the pushback, or no, not pushback, a lot of the questions that I've been asked on TikTok about how do I set up, I'm 20 years old, or I'm 22, or I've just, I really am tired of working on the tools. I was a framing carpenter, if I just did the calcs, about 16 years after I did my apprenticeship, before I got my builder's license. So if you're just getting out of your time now, how about you go and do 16 years where you run a framing crew, have 15 guys part of that crew, do that for 16 years, feed your family doing that, and then go get a builder's license. This is why if you're 22 and you're sitting there, or you're 39, it's just time. You've done what you've done. Go get it. And so I would have been, 38. Let's say, I don't know what age I was. But, that was 2009. So I would have been about 36, 37 when I got a builder's license. So, just do it now. It doesn't, just start looking around. But let me say this to the guys. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. Let me say this to the young guys. I'm telling you, you're going to go out there and in your heart and in your head, you think you're a frigging gangster, and you might be. The problem is, if you're going to go and be a GC and deal directly with homeowners, we're talking to homeowners right now that are going to invest between $650,000 and $1 million on a reno. The young fellas, I guarantee you that you are going to have trouble convincing a 60-year-old, fully retired, very successful business owner that he should invest $500,000 with a 25-year-old gangster. Prove me wrong, but I'm a 50-year-old guy, and I might have trouble entrusting a 25-year-old with a $500,000, renovation or addition contract. So please that's a little bit of caveat, because you can run out. You go and set all these 11 points up or whatever, and then all of a sudden you get out there and you get, I had one guy that said to me on TikTok something on the lines that he's quoted 20 jobs and won none. Now, I didn't ask him what his age was, but that's a real challenge that you young fellas, and I kind of wish I was a young fella again, but not, there is some benefits for being an old boy as well. So I think the key is to be happy where you're at, be, stealing with your eyes and your ears, ask questions are the answers, design your systems, work through this 11-point checklist, and really just let it come to you. Work your face off like it all depends on you, and then be patient, okay? And just keep putting one foot. I said to a couple of guys on TikTok, persistency and consistency is actually part of the magic of winning long term. Doing it every day, one foot in front of the other, because anybody can start, but few finish. Do not suffer from opportunity blindness. I get some of the guys in this town going, well, how can you sell 4 franchises in a town with a population of 40,000? The lucky part for us is that it's a major tourist center, and there's a lot of retirees here. And yet when I ask guys, how much renovation work do you think happens here? It's about $120 million a year. If I have 4 guys doing $3 million a year, we're not even touching the sides. So, and some of the guys say to me, I'd never buy a franchise, Max. That's bullshit. Why would I do it? I like the brand on the side of my pickup. And you know what? Totally cool. I'm okay with that. I understand that there's plenty more fish in the sea and there's way more opportunity there than I can see. But sometimes some guys will just go and hang their future on something as flimsy as, well, I like my name on my business card. And I get it. And you know what I say to guys? I said, you only have to be with Smithies for 5 years. And I'm telling you, what does it cost a doctor, and how long does it take him or her to get the credentials? I'm telling you, it's got to be $200,000, and it's got to be 7 to 10 years. I don't know what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I'm telling you, when you talk about you do an apprenticeship as a carpenter for 4 years, and then you still actually don't get taught anything about business development or setup. There's why that most construction companies fail between 3 and 5 years. They fall flat on their ass, because they don't know how to business manage, and they sure as shit don't know how to business develop. So it's the brutal truth. So look, we've been going for half an hour now or so, but look, that's about where it's at. I'm going to wrap up with that. I hope that goes and builds helps you build or at least help you set up a kick-ass construction business. But certainly leave me some comments, shoot me an email. The best place to get me is max@business4builders.ca. Shoot me an email, please, one question at a time. avoid sending me a novel because I've got a few to get through and I want to get you to it and give you as much value as I can to help you in your endeavors in starting up or, developing a high performance general contracting or building company. Go build a kick-ass business. See you on the next episode. Cheers.